This episode of The Reasons I'm Broke is brought to you by Audible.
Sign up today and get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
There's over 150,000 titles to choose from, all available on your Android device, Kindle, and iPhone.
Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
And for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. The way we set up our podcast is first we start with some news, again ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more, and we follow up with our comic book pull list of the week.
I think we'll start off by saying that last week when we recorded, we didn't have much of news at all, like a couple of things here and there. And then the next day, DC decided to drop this bomb thing with their comics. And then a couple days later, Marvel decides to team up with Sony. So it was just shitty timing for the podcast because it's just like, we were like, we have no news. And then a day later, there's all this news and people listening are like, there's tons of news, guys. What's going on? But yeah, we recorded before all of this broke. So we've got tons going on. And we have a hefty stack of comics as well. And we're going to start off with the first bit of news. It's a lighter in comparison to everything else that comes up. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Netflix are in the early stages of making a live-action show based on The Legend of Zelda.
They are comparing this to the Game of Thrones, but for a family audience. So not very much like the Game of Thrones.
No, not at all. Nothing like it. No writers or actors have been named yet.
But they already made money.
Well, possibly. This could always go away at any time. When they're this early on in production, it's not even a set thing anymore. Like, they could just at any time cancel it. They have no writers, nothing has been written, there's nothing that's been greenlit as far as a pilot goes. They're reporting on this. It's people that are upset about it shouldn't be, because it can still go away.
It's happening, and they've already made money.
Do you know why Nintendo was wary of doing this deal?
No.
The last live-action thing is Mario.
That doesn't count. That was the 90s. We were all crazy in the 90s.
Ever since then, they were like, we're not going to give anyone any permission to make any live-action stuff of our video games, not even CGI movies.
Yeah, but they gave it to Netflix, who made Orange is the New Black and House of Cards.
They did.
So Link's going to be going around seducing people and then pushing them in front of buses. It's going to be great.
People are kind of worried about this because Link is a protagonist that is silent. It is a reflection of the player. And in a show, he's going to have some lines. He's going to be represented by an actor.
Not necessarily. He could still be mute and just go, yeah!
People do want a mute character out of this. I don't think that would work. I think he's going to have to be a fleshed out person.
They could make it work. This is Netflix we're talking about, sir.
Do you think they should base it on a video game storyline, or do you think it should be its own thing?
I didn't play enough of the video games to be able to say, yes, this is the one that you should do.
Okay, for example, you played the 3DS one. Mm-hmm. That was A Link Between Worlds. Do you feel like that could work in a TV show?
They would have to expand a lot on it, because a lot of it was, run over here and do this, now run over here and do this. And that's going to get boring after a while in a TV show.
Maybe at the end of the season, like he finishes the second dungeon, and in season 2 he does 2 more dungeons, and the storyline in the meantime continues with the relationships between him and everyone else in town.
They could. They'll make it work. Again, like I said, it's Netflix. They haven't let us down yet. Some really big news this week. Sony Pictures Entertainment and Marvel Studios announced on Monday that Spider-Man will be joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
When Korea supposedly had that hack with the emails with Sony and Marvel, there was a string of emails that supposedly was going on between the two companies in which they were talking about sharing Spider-Man and putting him in Captain America 3 Civil War. Since then, Sony and Marvel have both said that's not true. And there were talks on it, but none of them went through. As of this moment, we are not going to put Spider-Man in any movie. This was about a month and a half ago or so, and all of a sudden we have this huge announcement that goes up on Monday night. It's all over Twitter. It destroyed the internet, and that is that Spider-Man, not only will he show up in a future Marvel movie, but he's then going to have his own film in 2017.
Yes, under this new deal, Spider-Man will appear in a Marvel film and will have his next Sony installment released July 28th, 2017.
They haven't confirmed which movie he's actually going to appear in, but because of the email hacks, everyone's kind of figured out that it's Captain America 3 Civil War. This movie will be co-produced by Kevin Feige and his team at Marvel as they oversee a new direction for the Spider-Man franchise.
Bob Iger, chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company, said, "Spider-Man is one of Marvel's great characters, beloved around the world. We're thrilled to work with Sony Pictures to bring the iconic web-slinger into Marvel's cinematic universe, which opens up fantastic new opportunities for storytelling and franchise building."
That's your hero, Bob Iger.
And money.
Tons of money.
Now I got that Usher song stuck in my head. Thanks. You heard his new song?
I did not.
Talking about like, swing on that pole, that'll make you a hoe and make that money, money, money. That money, money, money.
Is Bob Iger swinging on a pole?
I hope so. He gonna make that money, money, money.
He's in a Spider-Man suit and the mask is off and it's Bob Iger. So this is great news for everyone involved. Marvel, Sony. Sony is still retaining the rights. That's something that everyone needs to be clear on. I have had people come into the shop and say, okay, so Spider-Man is Disney's now. No, it is not. They actually came to an agreement in which they're both going to split the profits in some way. I'm sure maybe Disney is paying Sony to even use the character here. But at the same time, Disney's saying, well, if we're going to do this and you're going to make a movie in which our Spider-Man is going to appear in it and you're going to produce that, then we're going to oversee it. We're going to have our team from our Marvel movies go over there and oversee this entire film and make sure it meets the standard that Marvel has put forth so far.
And make that money, 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 that money. I just hope they do Miles Morales.
Yeah, that was the next question. They're saying a new direction for Spider-Man. All they've said so far is that it's going to be a high school character, a high school Spider-Man again.
Miles Morales.
And if it is the Civil War storyline, then it has to be Peter Parker.
But Miles Morales.
But I think it should be Miles Morales as well. I think that would be a completely new direction for the character. Mm-hmm. It would separate the Spider-Man recently from the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 that Sony has done, and that would truly be a refreshing start for all of Spider-Man. We've already had 5 movies with Peter Parker to this point. People online on Twitter I read were saying, why don't we give Peter Parker a proper arc under the Marvel Universe? It's like, we've had 5 movies already.
They've had their chance.
Well, Marvel hasn't, but Sony has. And they've made a lot of money off of Peter Parker.
They made that Spider-Man... money.
The first 3 Spider-Man movies were really successful. Amazing Spider-Man 1 did pretty well. 2 didn't do as well as they wanted. But they've all made money, as you were saying. I think if they went with Miles, it would be very successful for them regardless. They can work it in the story. It's obviously not going to be the exact Civil War storyline because you would still need the Punisher. You would need tons of characters that appeared in the comic book. But if they do the Peter Parker, someone else said that they should introduce Miles at some point, or maybe even in the Spider-Man solo movie, have him appear as a minor character like they did in the Ultimate Universe, where he was just a kid and then witnessed the death of Peter Parker. Do you think they should go with Peter again, or does that make sense if they're going to do Civil War?
I mean, that's the easy choice, because we haven't seen a lot of Miles. He's been around, 2 years?
No, he's been around for, I think, 5 or 6 at this point.
5 or 6 years.
Ultimate Fallout was his first appearance, which is now a speculator comic. They're looking for it. It's like a $20 comic. And that was before Cataclysm. That was before...
Okay, well, in Kelli world, he's only been around for 2 years. So I'm going to assume if I only know he's been around for 2 years, the general mass only knows he's been around for about 2 years.
That doesn't make sense, because it's only recently that Miles has been showing up in the cartoons.
Right. And then he got his own comic, which is big, and as far as I know, it's been selling well. But you still have those people out there who go, well, that's not my Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true.
My Spider-Man's Peter Parker. So it's going to be a gamble for them. I think it would be wonderful and very successful, and I think it would bring in a brand new audience. and you throw him into Civil War, and you're still going to have those people who go, well, he's not my Peter Parker, or he's not my Spider-Man, but I want to see all the rest of the Avengers. And you're going to get his name out there. So that would be the perfect place to throw him in if you're going to. Do I think they will? Probably not.
One of my coworkers was saying that he's like, Tobey Maguire's going to come back. He's going to do his big comeback.
Oh, I hope not.
40-year-old high school Peter Parker kid.
Not. I think I would rather have Kevin Bacon instead of Tobey Maguire.
I was like, no, man, he's going to come back, but he's going to come back as Miles. He won't be Peter Parker.
What if they did Spider-Gwen?
And Tobey Maguire had like a little wig?
Yeah, it'd be great.
Would you be okay with that?
That's fine. And he could be like, oh, my life.
My 40-year-old, high school life.
Look at my big bug eyes.
Now, with the new Spider-Man movie releasing in 2017, 2 movies got pushed back. Actually, 3. Ms. Marvel, The Inhumans, and Black Panther. Many people were upset by this. People that really wanted to see Ms. Marvel and were fans of Black Panther were like, what the hell? Like, we've had enough Spider-Man movies and now they're going to push back.
They need that money. Curse you, Usher. They know what audience they have to go for. They understand that Spider-Man's going to be the moneymaker. If they can pull him in with Spider-Man, then they're going to get more audience for the other 3. The benefit to that is now they have longer to make those other 3. Hopefully that'll be a better product. But I can see why people would be upset.
Very true. Last thing before we move into comic news, what do you think this means for the DC movies? You are the head of Warner Brothers, the head of whoever's taking over DC Entertainment with the films.
This is new to me. You got a promotion.
You got the promotion, and you see that Spider-Man is going to appear, and Sony's teaming up with Marvel, and they've got a big character now lined up for Civil War, which is the same year that Batman v Superman releases. Do you flinch? Are you blinking? Do you think maybe you should bring out a trailer sooner rather than later? Or are you just going to let this kind of swell and eventually go down?
I don't worry. You know why?
Why?
Because I got Batman. I think we actually talked about this the other day. There's no reason to bring out a trailer. Because yes, they're announcing all this stuff. But as soon as we're actually ready to announce more news and bring out a trailer for this movie, it's going to blow up the internet. It's going to put all this stuff behind it. So I think it's such a little kid move when somebody goes, look what we're doing. And the other one goes, yeah, look what we're doing. And I'm like, calm down. Like, let us talk about this. This is great that comic book movies are getting so much recognition. This is wonderful because that's good for your stuff as well. So let them do their thing. Give us like a month. And then when you are actually ready to present us with this stuff, give us something great. Don't give us something rushed or something that looks like it's just trying to overshadow. Because now all your Marvel fanboys are going to go, oh, well, DC just did that to overshadow us. Rather than maybe actually being excited for us because it's the right time to bring it out.
And you brought up a great point. In spite of all of this, and the madness that's going on behind the scenes and what we actually see as an audience, this is a gorgeous time to actually be a comic book fan, a superhero fan, a Spider-Man fan only, or only a Batman fan, whatever it is. It's a great time to be that fan, because when we were growing up, we didn't have the number of superhero movies that we have now, and even yet so many good ones. You know, a lot of people are really enjoying these movies, and it's no longer as stigmatized to be a comic book fan or be a superhero fan or any of that. It's now taken seriously. Like, these superhero movies are the biggest hitters in Hollywood now. This is what's bringing in money for the studios, and it's evident by the number of movies that they're bringing out now. Between today and 2020, there's over 10 movies, superheroes, between the two companies. And it's teams from little things like Justice League Dark that are coming up. Guardians of the Galaxy is another one. Teams that you never thought would ever make it to the big screen. We're seeing it now. And I, for one, I'm just happy I exist during this moment, during this time where I can enjoy these movies and I can watch these developments as they rise.
I agree 100%.
Before the big DC comic news hits, DC Collectibles did unveil its 2015 lineup at the North American Toy Fair in New York City this week.
For the full list, you can check out the article on newsarama.com. But they did announce a Dr. Fate replica from the TV show Constantine.
Yeah, these are some of the ones we're highlighting because we're not necessarily getting all of these, but these are the ones that we were like, oh, that's really cool. Stuff that, Kelli and I thought looked great. And if you watch Constantine, you did see this replica on the show. I think it appeared once or twice in the background.
It was in the very first episode, I remember, when they were walking down into the, house. And I'm like, oh, shit, there's that thing. And you're like, I don't believe you. But it was there.
Yeah, Dr. Fate's helmet. And it's just like it appeared in the show. You can buy it. That joins the other props from the television shows, like the Gotham City Police Department badge that you can buy.
I want
now
it.
You have the replica. Who knows what other
too.
stuff is coming?
I want all of those things.
Do you think? I don't think you can wear it. Although that would be really cool.
I would put fake cobwebs in my house and have this on a dark little table, and then I'd walk down my stairs and be like, I wouldn't be opening that door. I'd try to sound like Constantine. It wouldn't work.
We also had more figurines from Batman the Animated Series. Another wave.
You died just a little bit.
I did at the very next one, the last one here. But Wave 5 consisted of Mad Hatter, Bane, Nightwing, and Scarecrow. The first three are from Season 4, which is the Batman and Robin Adventures. And then the Mad Hatter is actually from the original season, so Season 1 through 3. The last three are the ones with that new redesign by Bruce Timm.
Can I get Nightwing and just have him go around the house going, my life?
Is he Tobey Maguire too, or?
Yes. They're just all whiny. They probably have a little whiny club. You know how in Wreck-It Ralph when all the villains got together? Mm-hmm. All the whinies get together too.
He comes complete with the mullet.
His whiny mullet. I'm just trying to get out of your shadow. Grow some hair.
So we didn't really like the Season 4 redesigns, although the Scarecrow one looks really awesome. Mm-hmm. I like the second redesign from the original series, in which he had the teeth sticking out, the hat, not the balloon head, but the actual creepy...
Oh, I liked the balloon head.
But the second one was so much better.
Yeah, but I like the balloon head.
And this third one, they made him shahuge, kind of bulking. He had the noose around his neck, and you couldn't really see his face. It was always covered in shadow.
He was real creepy.
No longer had the scythe either. He had a little staff that he poked people with.
Well, he had the noose. What do you need the scythe for?
That's true.
You just
Scary
push
enough
people
as
off a building and what? Oh, done.
The big one, 6-inch scale Batmobile. That's Season 1 through 3 design. Large enough to seat companion action figures inside the vehicle.
I love that they did this. They know we're taking them out of the packages. They know. That's why they did this.
They could have not done it so you can put your figurines in there. Not only did they make it so that the door slides open, so you can put all of these will fit in there, but the Batmobile also lights up. The two little front headlights. I was like, son of a bitch.
How much is that one?
They haven't said yet.
It doesn't matter.
6-inch Batmobile. They haven't made this thing in years. When I was a kid, they had that big one, and you can see it on eBay still. Most of them are outside of the box, but it looks amazing. Dustin Nguyen actually painted one white, and he's like, what have I done? I don't know why I did this.
I'm going to have a Batman and a Catwoman, and they're going to go on dates, right?
Well, that'll be your Batmobile.
No. This we're getting two?
Absolutely. I'm going to save up for this thing.
Can we afford two?
I don't know. I don't know how much they are going to be. But
who needs vacation next year?
If I don't have to get I would be happy with no figurines and just the Batman one. And then the Batmobile. That's all I need.
But we need a Catwoman so they can go on dates.
We don't need the Catwoman
Yes,
one.
we need a Catwoman one so they can
And then later on, when they make the Ra's and Talia one, then I can get those.
No, because we'll be so broke from Catwoman and the two Batmobiles that we won't be able to afford it.
Either way, it looks so amazing. I didn't think they would make a Batmobile. That completely threw me for a loop.
They know how to get inside your wallet.
They really, really do.
They took your money.
That's a wish list type of thing. I hope one day, I know they're not going to do it, but I want the Batmobile, but only the Season 1 through 3 one, and then they came out with it. It's phenomenal. It's so awesome. I wish these things existed when I was a kid. The figures look amazing.
You didn't have money then, sir.
I did not. But one of my friends, Brian, he sent me a link where, I think it's called Gentle Giant. They took the old figurines that I grew up with, they had the stiffer arms, didn't have as many points of articulation. They scanned them with a digital scanner. I don't know what they're called, but like laser scanned those original figurines, the Batman and Robin ones, so they were exact replicas of the old ones, and they blew them up to, I think, 12-inch figurine size.
Wow.
And they gave them the exact same paint job, the exact same cloth cape, because back then it was just a cloth, it wasn't like a plastic. And they're like, well, we're going to keep it authentic just like it used to be. We're just blowing them up and making them bigger and reproducing them. I'm like, so even people that say these don't look as good as the ones when I was growing up, here's these from Gentle Giant. These are exactly like the ones you grew up with, and they're bigger and they're more detailed. Have at it.
Say goodbye to your dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Also, the next one that we are definitely getting, so they can go on dates in the Batmobile.
This I approve of.
Batman Mask of the Phantasm 2-pack, so it will include the Phantasm and Batman.
This Batman is exactly like the other one that they're offering later on this year, except he's got a slightly different mouth. So they made him scowl in this version, but everything else is exactly the same.
Purchased.
So most people are going to be stuck with 2 Batmans.
Stuck with, or have the privilege of having?
Privilege. Excuse me.
Watch your language, sir.
Mask of the Phantasm 2-pack. The original ones had it.
Okay, I'm done.
The original Phantasm had it so that when you took off the cloth mask, it was actually Andrea Belmont underneath. I'm hoping they can do that with this one.
I'm sure they will.
That's such an essential part of the movie, and it'd be cool to, have both versions. You can have Andrea without the cloak and the mask, and then you can have it with the Phantasm itself.
They also announced some more DC bombshells, which I am a huge fan of. We're going to have Batwoman, Catwoman, and the Joker and Harley Quinn.
That last one is something brand new. These are slightly bigger than the other bombshell statues, and they come with 2 characters. And this is that pose in which, Harley Quinn is carrying Joker and giving him a kiss. What was that, after World War I or II? That famous photograph?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's what they're recreating with this, except it's Harley Quinn and the Joker.
Amazing, purchased as well.
We've seen the Batwoman and Catwoman design in the comic book variant covers and the poster prints that they sell at many comic book shops. Batwoman with the baseball uniform, it looks great. And Catwoman, in which she has the jewelry and she's in front of like a bank. They made it out as like a banking company. Also looks great. Very reminiscent of The Dark Knight Rises. And yeah, if you're a fan of the bombshells, this is just more great stuff coming. They've already done the Hawkgirl one. They've yet to do the Katana one, which I'm really excited to see if they do, or the Talia one, but it's just a matter of time if these continue to be as successful as they have been. To Paul Dini's dismay, something he did not seem very happy about on Twitter, they are coming out with a Batman black and white Harley Quinn statue based on his original Harley Quinn concept.
If you guys haven't seen this, it's pretty horrible.
It is bad. In the animated series art book, Paul Dini said that when he had this concept for Harley Quinn, he drew her up really quickly. And Paul Dini can't actually draw, but this didn't turn out very well. And he gave it to Bruce Timm, and he's like, look, this is my idea for Harley Quinn. She's going to be based off of Arlene Sorkin after he saw her performance. And it kind of looks like her a little bit. And this is what we're going to do on the show. This is the new character. This is going to be the Joker's henchwoman. And she wasn't meant to be anything big. It's just with the popularity, she actually developed into this full character that today is one of the biggest DC characters. And and Bruce Timm took this design and he said, you know what, let me work with this. And made the iconic classic Harley Quinn outfit that we love today.
And then he sold the sketch that Dini hated.
When they printed it on the book, Paul Dini was like, I thought he had thrown this away, and I'd hoped he had thrown this away, and nope, here it is for everyone to see. And now there's an entire fucking statue based on it.
And you know what? I'm buying it. And Dini's making money, so it's all okay.
He tweeted the picture of it, and he's like, well, I guess there's this.
Dini, sir, I'm paying for your house right now. Just stop.
Assuming he's making money off of that.
I'm sure he is.
And here's the DC news that we were most excited for, more so than Marvel Studios being able to use Spider-Man, because of course, we admit it, we are bigger DC people than we are Marvel. And they've revealed what is happening in June. What happens after Convergence?
Starting in June, DC will be dropping the New 52 branding in favor of a more inclusive, contemporary, and accessible line of comics.
No more New 52.
Nope.
That is gone.
Nope.
3 years later, it's no longer new. I think it'll always still be known as the New 52 universe, even if there is a reboot in the future. Years from now, it'll still be like, oh, well, that's, New 52 Harley Quinn or whatever. I don't know if they're going to be replacing it with a new branding or if it'll just be known as DC Comics. Mm-hmm. But that is the important part, a more inclusive line of comics. We had just talked about this a couple of weeks ago, push comics forward from Boom Studios. Apparently they're not the only ones that have read the market and understand where they can actually tap into more customers and more readers.
In a press release, DC co-publisher Dan DiDio had this to say: "In this new era of storytelling, story will trump continuity as we continue to empower creators to tell the best stories in the industry. We will tell stories that better reflect the society around us."
This is where a lot of comic readers went, whoa, Trump continuity? What the fuck?
Superman goes, "Finally, I can be in love with Batman."
This relationship with Lois Lane matters not. A lot of readers, continuity is very important to them. Creators will never understand this. You've heard Jeff Johns and Dan DiDio talk about this in the past, where they say readers will hold us to continuity as if it's this super important thing, instead of letting them just tell the story and seeing what happens. That's when readers will, how come Batman's 30 years old and Damian's only 10 years old, but we still have Nightwing and he had been Batman in that time? None of this fits, and they get really tied up into that. And creators are like, so what? Like, this is just what it is.
It's a story. Calm down.
And that's kind of where they're going. And a lot of readers feel betrayed in that because they feel like they're not respecting the history of the characters. And instead, they're going, well, let's just see what these creators can come up with instead of restricting them.
I want them to go, "You want comics or not?"
He just comes out and says that. You want comics or not?
And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I do want comics. Okay, then, stop your bitching.
And this is going to be what follows DC's 2-month convergence break, which is, of course, when they're moving their offices from New York to California.
There will be 24 new #1 issues that will go with 25 already existing comics.
So that's already less than 52 comics, so they're cutting down their line by a few comics, 3. Not necessarily a bad thing. I think if they focus it more, instead of just being like, okay, well, we have to have 52 comics, so let's come up with a new one to replace this. Instead, it's just, here's these 25 that have been working with the New 52, or rather, maybe some of them are still too new to gauge numbers on. But here's 24 brand new #1s. It's almost like a soft relaunch. Everything else is still continuing. But here's these brand new books that are going to be accessible, and there's going to be more characters that are diverse. But if you like the old stuff, here's these 24 that are, or these 25 that are still going to continue.
They will also be adding new titles as the year goes on.
Some of these are miniseries, so those are the ones I think that are going to be replaced by the ongoing Shazam, or maybe they'll try a new character to see what sticks with audience. If a miniseries ends up spiking sales, they're obviously going to turn it into an ongoing. It's all a part of the business. You see what works and you go with it. The 24 continuing titles, so these are the ones that are from the New 52, the numbers are continuing. So if you were on number 43, it's going to continue with 44 Aquaman or 45 Batman. These are Action Comics, Aquaman, Batgirl, which we love, Batman, of course, Detective Comics, Batman, Superman, aka Superman Loves Batman, Catwoman, Deathstroke, really hot character right now, The Flash, Gotham Academy,
Wonderful.
Staying on, Gotham by Midnight is another one I was surprised about, Grayson, still not Nightwing, Green Arrow, Harley Quinn, Justice League United, Lobo.
Really? Okay.
Secret Six, Sinestro, yes. New Suicide Squad. They have a movie coming out next year.
Okay.
Superman, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, and Wonder Woman.
Pretty good titles. A lot of Batman in there, but really, what do we expect?
But with the new titles, there's actually less Batman. And now that happened, people are like, where's the Batman titles? It's like, you guys always bitch when there's a new Batman title. Like, oh, more Batman. And when there's no Batman, you go, well, where'd Batman go?
You want comics or not?
Plus, Batman Eternal Year 2 is coming. They just haven't announced it yet.
That's more money. So, the new number ones will consist of, as we're talking about less Batman comics, Robin, Son of Batman. This is written and drawn by Pat Gleason, who does Batman and Robin.
So this essentially replaced Batman and Robin. If you notice, that is not a title in the continuing ones, which is a big deal for us because Batman and Robin is one of the best, if not the best, book that DC is producing. It's always between that and Batman.
And Saga.
That's not DC.
It should be.
Do you think Pat Gleason can write this? We had Peter J. Tomasi doing most of the writing before.
Have we seen Pat Gleason write anything?
I personally haven't, although I'm sure he did collaborate with Tomasi.
I'm sure.
When doing the
He could probably just draw pictures and we would pick it up.
The cover looks awesome already. Like, Damian has this demon dog thing with him. I don't know if it's a character that's existed before, but I'm like, holy shit. Like, we know Damian likes pets, so maybe he's going to have some super pets.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, sign us up. We're down. Ongoing. And the ones that we mentioned the creative team for are the ones that we're probably thinking of giving it a chance. So that next one following is Black Canary. Reason being, it's written by Brendan Fletcher, who is doing Batgirl and Gotham Academy, both of which we really enjoy. And it's being drawn by Annie Wu, who did Batgirl Beyond, back with Batman Beyond Universe.
They've been doing a lot with Black Canary in Batgirl, though, really building up her character.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see her get out on her own. I'm sure there'll be some crossovers with Batgirl.
Oh, yeah.
Next is Martian Manhunter. This is written by Rob Williams, who did Batman 66, with art by Ben Oliver and Paulo Siqueira.
I don't know what to expect from this title. It's been a couple years since Martian Manhunter has had his own solo title, but we like Martian Manhunter in the New 52. We like him in the fucking cartoon. We like him in the Injustice video game. And in the Justice League United, he was this ruthless leader, but still kind. Really interesting, and I hope that they continue that in Martian Manhunter, so we'll at least give it an arc.
I'm worried because Batman 66 was real campy, and Martian Manhunter's best when he's a total badass. But like you said, we'll check it out.
These next two, we're probably going to pass on, but you guys should still know about it. Earth 2 Society and The Midnighter, who we saw in Grayson recently.
That guy.
Batwoman is gone now, and instead Midnighter is here. So some people have pointed out, well, they're not giving us another LGBT character, they're just replacing one with another instead of adding to the number. I think they'll bring back Batwoman. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but for now, sales have been dipping, so they're going to give Midnighter a shot.
Next is Batmite. This is written by Dan Jurgens, who's done Aquaman and the Others, and the New 52 Futures End. And the art is by Corin Howell.
I really want to read Batmite. I know it's going to be a fun title, but Dan Jurgens, oh man. Like, I know he's been doing this for many years, but we did not like New 52 Futures End.
Nope.
Have not been reading Aquaman and the Others, but you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. Let's just see what happens. I was surprised to learn this was an ongoing. I thought it was just going to be a miniseries, but I guess it'll be an ongoing. All right. There is also, by Dan Jurgens, Batman Beyond, with art by Bernard Chang, who did Green Lantern Corps. Again, I like Batman Beyond. I like what they do with him every now and again. But Dan Jurgens...
Maybe he'll surprise us.
Maybe.
I feel like the first Futures End was really good. The free comic book
number
day
0
one?
issue,
Yes,
yeah.
that was very good. Maybe he can bring that back. Next we have Cyborg. This is written by David L. Walker, who did Shaft. And the art is Ivan Reis and Joe Prado.
They've done Justice League. Great work on there. And you can see their work on the prototype cover for Cyborg. It looks really awesome. I know Shaft has been a pretty solid title. It's still going. It's a little mini-series from what I remember. But I like Cyborg, and it's another one. If anything, for the art, I will also give it a couple of issues.
Absolutely.
This one was very interesting to me, and I explained it to Rick from Those Two Jerks here on the Nerd Up Media Network. Dark Universe. This is written by James Tynion IV, who did Batman Eternal, and art by Ming Doyle. So this upcoming title, again, we're still continuing on the brand new number ones, the more accessible titles. Dark Universe is Justice League Dark, but it's under this new title of Dark Universe. Now, something that I remembered as soon as I saw this, it clicked, Dark Universe. I remember we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Guillermo del Toro, his screenplay for Justice League Dark was called Dark Universe. We're like, what the hell? Why would they call it that? Why don't they just call it Justice League Dark? It's got Justice League in the name. That ties into the DC Universe really well. Dark Universe doesn't say anything comic booky. Regardless, it looks like they are going to continue with this name, and they're supporting it with the comic book work with a title that's called Dark Universe. Now it all makes sense. This could be essentially a confirmation that the new Justice League Dark movie, still no date on it, although the screenplay is moving forward according to Guillermo, will be called Dark Universe, is coming, will feature the Justice League Dark. He's already said Swamp Thing, Constantine, Zatanna, major characters.
TV show Constantine?
Not TV show Constantine.
Then I don't care.
But this comic, I think, confirms that Dark Universe, Justice League Dark, is coming to the big screen.
Oh, I'm sure. I hope. This next one is one we will not be getting. Doomed.
Interesting that they gave Doomsday his own comic. This has made a lot of people, like, this is the confirmation now for many people that he will be the villain in Batman v Superman. That rumor going around that he was created out of Zod's dead body that takes some of the cells and tried to replicate Zod, and it turns out it's Doomsday. Well, if they're giving him his own title, and this is going to be a title that continues into 2016, I don't know. It seems like it's a very important character and an upcoming one that we probably will see in theaters.
Speculators. Sillies. One we will be picking up, though, is Red Hood Arsenal. This is written by Scott Lobdell with art by Dennis Murdy, who did The Spider-Verse.
I'm still debating on this one, but the reason I didn't want to bring up the team on it is Red Hood and Arsenal, two very popular characters, especially after Arrow. People are looking for, believe it or not, Arsenal comics, and I'm like, well, you know, here's the Arrow adapted TV show. I know we have this in stock, so I'll give them that. But I think it's going to do really good, especially Red Hood. Still a very hot character. Still the action figure sells really well. So I'm hoping it does good for all the readers out there and they support this title.
Hopefully.
As long as they like those characters, of course. We also have a 4-part miniseries from Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner, who of course have been doing the Harley Quinn series. Art by Stephanie Rue, who did the Gotham City Sirens. This title is Harley Quinn Power Girl.
Awesome.
Obviously, Harley Quinn is going to get another title in some way, shape, or form. This is only a 4-part miniseries, but they've already said on Newsarama and on Twitter that this is going to be the story of what happens when, or what happened when Harley Quinn and Power Girl went through the portal and then came out wearing armor, and I think she was wearing a wedding dress.
Yeah.
They're going to tell that story.
That'll be so much fun.
It'll be fun, yeah.
Next is Starfire. This one's written by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner with art by Emanuela Lapuccino. Did I say that right?
You did?
Yeah! Who worked on Supergirl.
Was this the one you were most excited out of the new number ones?
I don't answer that question when you ask me it anymore because there's always something hiding.
No, the list is right there. I think Starfire is pretty big.
I will say I am very excited for this Starfire comic to see what they do with her, to see if maybe she wears a costume that I too can wear in public and not feel weird about it. But I do love the character of Starfire, and in the hands of Jimmy and Amanda, I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, feedback has been very positive for the costume, especially like you said. They've compared it to the Teen Titans TV show, the cartoon, and they look very similar. Instead of a miniskirt, though, they're shorts. So especially people that don't want their characters to be too sexualized, especially the New 52 version of Starfire, this is all an improvement.
Wonderful.
And then with the superstar team of Jimmy and Amanda, who have obviously proven that they can carry a title, or can carry a popular character like Harley Quinn, as well as, you know, the vast amount of work they've done in the past. But Harley Quinn being as successful as it is, I don't know the numbers on it, but it might be their most successful work yet. Starfire can only mean good things for Harley Quinn fans, for people, fans of Teen Titans, and for people that want another female superhero to have her own comic. Another number one on the diversity side is We Are Robin. This is written by Lee Bermejo, art by Rob Haynes and Carrie Randolph, who have done Joker and Batman Noel. Lee Bermejo definitely did those. We Are Robin is a team of African-American Robins, and they are people that I guess have been inspired by Damian or by the past Robins to continue to protect Gotham City. Apparently, they are inspired by the events of Batman Eternal and Batman Endgame.
I think this is an awesome premise. I think it's not going to do outstanding because I know people, I know readers, but I think it's going to do very well. and it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I hope people go out and support this title if they want to see more African American characters out there. Obviously, they're putting the Robin name in the title, so that should help out with sales. And I've said it before, people often say, hey, if you want a diverse character in comics, why don't you make a brand new character that is Hispanic or black instead of replacing an older one like Spider-Man or Robin? And I've said in the past that doesn't work because you have to put something familiar like Ultimate Spider-Man, for example. You couldn't have made him Arachna Boy. We would not have Miles Morales right now if that was Arachna Boy. Even if it was the exact same story, it wouldn't work. You have to put the title Spider-Man in there, and you still have your version of Spider-Man that still exists. You still have Robin Damien. He has his own comic, but here I hope you see Duke Thomas in this. I hope Duke Thomas leads these Robins.
Of course he will. I'm calling it now, just like I called he was Robin and you didn't believe me.
I believed you when I saw that glass that you pointed out with the R on it.
Yeah, you took a lot of convincing. So next we have Justice League of America. This is written and drawn by Brian Hitch, who did the Ultimates. The summary is new tales of the world's greatest heroes, implying a loose or perhaps even non-existent tie to continuity in the greater DC universe.
So this is what Dan DiDio was referring to. Some of these titles will not be necessarily stuck in continuity. They're just going to be, let's tell these stories, these arcs, here are these superheroes. And you notice it's called the Justice League of America, and it's not the New 52 Justice League of America like Martian Manhunter and Stargirl.
Catwoman.
This is classic Justice League. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Green Lantern. But these are like extra stories. I liken it to the same thing of Adventures of Superman that we had. I think that's what I'm most thinking of when I read this title.
And I hope that's what it is, because I feel that was very successful, and I feel that this could be also.
Another new #1, and this one has more of an indie spin to it, also giving a lighter tone to DC Comics. That is Bizarro. It's going to be a 6-part miniseries written by Heath Corson, who is the screenwriter for the direct-to-DVD movie Justice League War, and art by Gustavo Duarte. And this is, people want fresh, brand new, fun titles in the DC universe. They don't want the dark and gloomy, although we've said that we handle it just fine. It's not a big deal. But if they want fun titles, Bizarro, Starfire, Justice League of America, here you go. They are happening. Batmite. You want them? Here they are. Bizarro is a big one. He's got like a very Pixar-ish design to him as well. It's brand new. It looks like almost a digital version. It's kind of like the future of comics. But at the same time, it's this old character that's existed for years. But they're doing something new with him, and I think that could be a very fun thing.
Agreed. So the rest of these titles we will probably not be picking up, but we do want to let you know what they are. The first is Prez. It is a 6-part miniseries, a reinvention of the 4-issue series from 1973 titled Prez, First Teen President.
No one's knocking down the doors asking for this title. I don't see this selling very well.
Just let them... You want comics? You want comics or not? After that, we have Omega Men, Mystic U, which is a tentative title, Section 8, a miniseries, Dr. Fate, Green Lantern Lost Army, Justice League 3001, and finally Constantine the Hellblazer.
So at least Constantine continues, and they added Hellblazer in the title, which is what many people knew him by.
It should have been called Constantine from the TV, yo.
Then you'd be signed on,
and then
right?
I'm done reading it.
Dr. Fate, okay, I was tempted by that, but there's so many on here that I'm already adding, like Bizarro, Batmite, Justice League of America, Starfire, so many amazing titles that I'm not going to get all 24 of these, and the rest of them, to be honest, really didn't pique my interest. And I'm sure a lot of these we're eventually going to drop out on. That's just the nature of comics. You know, eventually you find out which ones work for you, which ones don't, which ones you really love, or which ones you've been missing out on.
For.
That too, which ones you can actually afford. Dan DiDio did close by saying, we're seeing more diversity in our audience. We're seeing a younger crowd. We're seeing people really enthusiastic about comics. So what we're trying to do is embrace all of our audiences and to create a product that I feel talks to everybody.
That's a good message. I approve.
Something I've been hearing. They're not bringing back my pre-New 52 characters. I'm still not interested.
Okay, then don't be interested.
Guess what? You haven't been buying comics for the last couple years since the New 52. you were never coming back. And then there are some people who are saying they shouldn't be catering to the younger crowd because they don't have as much expendable income as the older crowd.
Understood, but your younger crowd becomes your older crowd.
In 20 years, they're going to be the ones still buying comic books.
Still buying the toys, still buying the merchandise. If they hadn't appealed to you with Batman the Animated Series, would they be making your money now? Absolutely not.
Right, very true. Good point.
It's in a business, you can't look at the short-term income. You have to look at the long-term income. So where are we going to be in 20 years? Who's going to be our market? That's who we need to be selling to. They're not stupid.
They're not. And we're seeing more comics with female characters as their own titles, more comics with minority characters. We're having a new LGBT character, Midnighter, or not new, but he has his own comic again. And to anyone who feels like they're not being catered to, you still have these old 25 titles. I say old, the new 52 titles that have been, most of them have had solid sales and have continued with their stories. Those are still there. And of course, you always have your old trade paperbacks from the old stories that they're still reprinting. But if these new titles don't seem like something that's right up your alley, even though a lot of them have the exact same teams that you've been enjoying, you still have your old 25 titles that are going to continue.
At the end of the day, all these people who are saying, you know, my characters, my comics aren't here, so I'm going to stop reading, they're ultimately missing out. There's some great storylines. There's something for everybody. And they're just hurting themselves.
By not even trying them out.
By not even trying.
I do have a good story. There's a subscriber who was very much against the new Thor, the female Thor as they call her. I still call her just Thor, the new Thor. And he was very much against it, didn't want anything to do with it. He was reading Thor up to that point. He didn't like the change of characters because it's not his Thor anymore. It's a new character. And we're like, oh, well, you know, it might be good. It's all about the story and so on. He bought the first 3 issues, came back, and he said, no, this story is shit. Take it off my list. Piss on Marvel. Like, he was very much against it. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. You tried it out. You gave it 3 issues. Most people don't. Most people don't even want anything to do with the title. Immediately shit on it. Don't want a part of it. Not him. He read the 3. You know what? This is not my cup of tea. I don't want any part of it. All right, man. You bought 3 titles. You say what you want about it. You actually read it and you purchased it.
Exactly. I respect that man. Good for him. Good for him. So we did get a question of the week. This is from Christopher on Facebook, who asks, what do you think of the Netflix for books/comics? How will this affect the physical comic industry, if any?
He's referring to Scribd, I think is how you pronounce it. It's SCRIBD. It could be Scribd. And yes, it is essentially the Netflix for comic books on a smaller scale. Obviously, it's growing. They've just added a ton of Archie and Marvel titles, over 10,000 comic books, flat monthly fee. Naturally, as someone who works in the retail industry in comics, I'm obviously against it initially. Like, it's something that I'm like, I don't like it. As a collector, I don't like it. You can't. Digital comics are fine. There's many areas in which they don't have comic shops. Comic shops are closing all the time. And to them, the only way they can read comics is through a digital medium, through Comixology, through the Marvel or DC app. And that's cool. Maybe even they use Scribd. But as a collector, I like to have my physical comics. I like to be able to trade them in or sell them if I don't want them anymore, or you know, if I feel like I don't like these characters anymore, but they're actually worth a bit of money, maybe I can get credit and get new comics with them. I enjoy doing that. And that's always been something that I've kind of grown with, and I feel like other collectors as well really like the fact that they can have like the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, for example, and then they put it in a little bag and board, they put it away, they can look at it, they can have it signed, they can have sketch covers done by different artists. Some people like the CGC thing where they'll have the grade on the comic itself. That's all well and good, and you can't do that with a digital service with something like Scribd. That being said, if that's your only access to comics and it's a low fee and you get all this access to all these books and that's all you care about is reading them, I'd rather you do that than to like pirate them or something.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm gonna be devil's advocate and be on the other side and say that comic book companies are probably actually making more money from this service.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they get.
Than printing the comics and sending them. How much do they really make on a paper comic versus, okay, I'm going to send you a big fat check, DC, for $100,000 every month. And all you're doing is providing me a digital copy which costs you nothing. I don't think that this will put comic industries out of business.
Right.
I don't see a lot of people who frequent comic shops saying, you know what, I'm just going to do this instead. I see it as a service where, like the older Batman comics, or the first appearance of Harley Quinn, I'd love to read it again. I don't necessarily want to purchase the trade paperback, so let me get a $15 subscription a month and I can read through that, or I can read through things that I didn't particularly want to take the chance on a trade paperback, but you know what, I've read it here, I love it, let me go out and actually buy the book.
Right, and that we have seen. I have seen people come in and they said, you know what, I tried the free issue on Comixology, or I bought the first issue, I want to own the entire trade in physical format. And to those customers, like, that's their trial, is the digital version. And when they like the story so much, they actually want to go to a shop and buy the book and have it in front of them and have them read it, something they can give to someone as well. And I think that is good as well. I think the digital comic industry also helps retailers. I don't think it's only hurting them. It probably helps them more than anything.
I would agree with that.
But if something like Script were to carry comics the same week as release, and then you're paying like a $9 monthly fee, I think that can be a threatening thing.
Yes.
I want, if this is mainly back issues, or maybe they have like a year's waiting period, like, okay, you can get last year's comics, but everything else we want to sell through our DC app or our Marvel app or Comixology. I'm sure
I wouldn't even give it a full year. I would give them a month, maybe a month and a half before you could get it.
That's too soon for me.
No, it's not, because you're gonna have the people like us who say, but you know what, let me just pick it up now, let me just read it now, rather than, yeah, you will have some people who say, I'll just wait the extra month. But if you've read this issue and it was so good and you know the next issue is already out there, you may pop over to another digital site and buy it, but you're still going to buy it to find out what happened.
Yeah, it's also good for people on a budget as well, I'm sure. If they're not so concerned with getting the latest, greatest, but they want access to 10,000 comics and they want to read and enjoy books, more power to you. But as a retailer, as a collector, it's not something for me, and I recognize that. But for a lot of people, physical books aren't for them. You know, the space, carrying, having to buy supplies so you can store these things. I totally get that. Let us know, though, if you have heard of this service. If not, you can look it up. Tell us what you think about this, if you think it would hurt the retail industry or the comic industry at all. And also the other question, what do you think about the new 24 DC titles, the new number ones? Let us know on twitter.com/reasonsimebroke. You could also find the link at nerdupmedia.com.
So it is that time of the year again where we can begin our road to MegaCon.
Yes, road to MegaCon. We're very excited. They've been helping us out since last year when we first partnered up with MegaCon. And we do want to each week highlight a new guest that is going to be at the show. We'll definitely be there. Media guest James Remar. He's an actor best known for his role as Harry Morgan on the hit TV show Dexter. He can also be found on the big screen playing roles in the cult classic film The Warriors, portraying a pivotal video game character Lord Raiden in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and being a part of many major films such as X-Men First Class.
The convention will be running April 10th through the 12th at the Orange County Convention Center. You can get your tickets at megaconvention.com or at your nearest Coliseum of Comics.
We also want to remind everyone that we will have a panel at Omni Expo, which is another convention. That'll be May 22nd through the 24th at the Rosen Center Hotel in Orlando, Florida. Ours will be on the 23rd, which is on a Saturday at 3. You can view the full schedule at omniexpo.com.
And finally, before we move into our comic book pull list of the week, we want to give you our free Audible audiobook recommendation of the week.
This is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Millennium Trilogy.
A spellbinding amalgam of the murder mystery, family saga, love story, and financial intrigue.
This audiobook is free with your trial when you sign up at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Brokettes get a free audiobook download of their choice along with a 30-day trial. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Now we can move on to our comics for the week. We've got 4 independent titles, 2 Marvel titles, and 2 DC comics. Kicking it off with Adventure Time, Marceline Gone Adrift number 2. This one's written by Meredith Gran, art and colors by Carrie Peach.
This book was pretty much bubblegum in love with Marceline, and I loved it. I loved every second of this book.
We got a lot of background on the relationship between Bubblegum and Marceline, and I feel like that's what we bought this comic for, this miniseries. That's kind of what we're invested in. We're going to have 6 parts to this, and at this point it seems like most of the characters that we know and love, like Finn and Jake and Princess Bubblegum, feel guilty by the way they may have treated Marceline in the past, but they're also reflecting how Marceline isn't perfect either. And we're getting those experiences as we go and look for Marceline with the characters.
They're already weaving a fantastic story, as these Adventure Time comics typically do. Cannot wait for the next one. Our next book this week is Bravest Warriors number 29. This is written by Kate Leth and Pranas Najukaitis. Okay. And the art is by Ian McGinty and Pranas Najukaitis. And the colorist is Lisa Moore.
Nice one-shot story. Again, continuing the trend in which we're not doing this crazy arc that connects into the web TV
series.
show. Instead, this is a story of the Bravest Warriors when they were younger, when they were kids. Impossible Bear is still there. Catbug is somehow still there, even though this is that continuity thing we were talking about.
He was born when they were little.
Not this little, though.
Yeah.
This is like baby warriors.
I'm pretty sure when they were that little, he was born.
Regardless, it's not that big a deal. I'm not a stickler for continuity. It's fine. Who cares? It's a fun story, and I really loved it.
Me too.
Not my pick of the week, but it is them at an arcade, like a Chuck E. Cheese's type of place, and then an alien attacks, and them as little baby warriors during Danny's birthday have to figure out a way to save themselves and the rest of the kids.
I love baby Danny. If you guys don't know what he looks like, go look him up because he's hilarious.
Great story. Not my pick of the week.
Not mine either.
Conan Red Sonja number 2, written by Gail Simone and Jim Zub, art by Dan Panosian, who did some pages on the Harley Quinn number 0, and colors by Dave Stewart.
The thing I love most about this comic is they tied it back in to the actual Red Sonja story. I now feel like it's all one giant arc, one giant history, rather than, well, we have this Sonja and we have this Sonja.
Right, I'm hoping we get the story told in which, Anicia returns, because she's alive in this, even though we had in the other arc, where they didn't reconcile until after she, died in that battle. Like, we didn't have that much time in which they were friends, yet Conan and her are working in this story together, or not Conan, Red Sonja and her are working together. And we haven't seen yet how she returned. So I really hope that Gail Simone tells that story right after this.
Me too. And I hope that Sonja and Conan get some.
He was totally ignoring his, lover thing.
Okay, so you got that thing or you got Sonja, please.
I guess so. He didn't care. He was like, oh, hey, Red Sonja, and he immediately talking to her.
Brown hair or red hair? Please. Come on.
Did not care. Great story. Well done, Gail Simone and Jim Zub.
Next up is Teen Dog. This is number 6 of 8. This is written and drawn by Jake Lawrence.
We still have our mini comics built into this one book, but we are now exploring Teen Dog as he tries to get to something near the end of the comic. And in this case, he wants a job. He wants some income. And then along the way, you have the humorous failings as he tries different things like selling pizza or opening up a lemonade stand. And all of it is funny. It's still really solid. I still want this to be an ongoing comic.
I would too. It's a great book. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I think number 8 will be the last we'll see of it.
Most likely. To be fair, at my local comic shop, it's not something we're ordering up on. Right. It's just staying the same. On to our Marvel books. Amazing Spider-Man number 14. This is Spider-Verse Part 6 of 6. Written by Dan Slott. Art by Olivier Coipel and Giuseppe Camuncoli. Colors by Justin Ponsor. The final part of Spider-Verse.
I'm sad to see this go. This was a very fun arc to see all the different Spider-Mans. We did get to see a naked Spider-Man in this one.
That's true. Uncensored. You see a naked Spider-Man. Or a spider person. A spider thing.
Something spider that is naked.
One of the heroes.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
And it was hilarious. It was so much fun. Mm-hmm. And I the only complaint I do have is the ending was very anticlimactic. Up to this point, these villains were
something that couldn't be beaten.
Yes, exactly. They beat the most powerful of Spider-Men and women, and like it was nothing. And then all of a sudden, they're stopped within a couple of pages, and they feel remorse for what they did, and they're thankful to the Spider-Men for not killing them, and they go off. It's just, I'm like, oh, that was way too easy.
Way too silly. But overall, it was good. It was a great arc. It was a lot of fun. I liked that we got to see that guy come back in the end. Mm-hmm. And be like,
one of the villains,
yeah. He's got his like machine gun in there.
Yeah, he was awesome. Yes. Kind of redeemed himself. I think we're going to have to pick up Epilogue just to see where Superior Spider-Man stands in all of this. And how he's going to kind of say goodbye to these friends that he's made on this adventure. But also to Peter Parker, who he knows he loses against. And we haven't really seen that payoff or what he's going to do about it yet.
Right. Our final Marvel book this week is Thor #5. This is written by Jason Aaron with art and colors by Jorge Molina.
It hasn't been that long since we've had the last Thor book. Mm-hmm. And this is why the artist changed, because you can't have the old one, put out a book this quickly.
Why not?
But this is Thor narrowing down the list on who this new Thor... I'm sorry... The Son of Odin, because he's no longer Thor. Mm-hmm. The Son of Odin is narrowing down his list on who Thor is. And I also felt like one of the beginning villains that Thor fights is your typical comic reader that was like, I don't want a female Thor. And that's who he pretty much says the exact same things. Like, you're not really Thor. You're a female. That's a completely different character. Mm-hmm. That guy's Thor. And it's really funny because we've already seen how that went in the last issue when Thor explained, the Son of Odin explained why she was Thor now.
Yeah, that part in the beginning bothered me. Not so much that guy was saying that, because, okay, whatever. But that you have the feminist who comes out, and her reaction to all of it. I get it, but I didn't feel it was very realistic. I would have liked to see, this cray-cray fight.
So you feel like it was kind of tacked on? A little forceful?
Yeah, it was kind of them trying to justify themselves and say, well, look, some people are okay with it.
Yeah, I can see that. Instead of just letting the story tell itself.
Exactly. You don't own up to what you've created because you have a good product.
Exactly, yep.
You don't need to try to justify it to anybody to get it, because I don't think that made anybody else go, oh, yeah, I guess I can see it that way.
Yeah, at this point, it's issue 5. You've got your audience.
Yes, exactly.
Next is my pick of the week.
This is my pick of the week. You can't pick my pick of the week.
Well, I did.
I threw things at you.
Harley Quinn, Valentine's Day Special #1. Written by Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti. Art by John Timms, Ben Caldwell, Aaron Campbell, and Tony Silas. With colors by Paul Mounts, Hi-Fi, and Ben Caldwell.
Don't be picking my picks.
My pick of the week.
You can't be picking my picks.
This is a one-shot story. $4.99. Mm-hmm. Tons of pages. Mm-hmm. Different artists. Mm-hmm. Dream sequences. Mm-hmm. Breaking the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. Everything that you love about Harley is here. Even Batman's in it.
Bruce, Harley, and Ivy threesomes were in there too.
That is in there.
Implied.
It's true. It's implied.
Yes.
It is everything that you love about new Harley Quinn. It is everything you love about old Harley Quinn. It is everything you love about Bruce Wayne and how he acts when he's the playboy millionaire. And it's nailed in this story. Mm-hmm. It's the silliness and zaniness of the new Harley with the sweet sort of puppy dog love that the classic Harley had, and that's in there too. If you've seen Harley's Holiday from Batman the Animated Series and you love that episode, and everyone does, it's a great episode written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, you'll love the Valentine's Day Special.
And there's some making out.
It's all kinds of sexy as well. And I saw a lot of people this week buying this as a Valentine's Day present. Like, Harley Quinn already sells fine as it is.
Done.
But a lot of them were like, oh, Valentine's Day's coming up, and I know she likes Harley Quinn. So I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Gentlemen,
there you go.
If you buy this for your ladies, you will get some.
The other one, too, is Mad Love. Mm-hmm. Great story. One guy bought that with the Valentine's Day special. I'm like, holy shit, well done, sir.
Yep, it was absolutely a great comic. My pick of the week... Because Dan didn't pick my pick of the week, because you can't pick my pick of the week.
No, I picked my pick of the week. You're right.
No.
I didn't pick your pick of the week. I picked my pick of the week.
Definitely pick this one up, guys, if you don't pick up any other book. Trust me, your lady will like this more than chocolates. And no, you better get the chocolates too. And some flowers.
I also love all the different outfits Jimmy and Amanda are putting Harley in. Like, they've said in interviews, we're giving cosplayers 2 years worth of costumes.
Yeah, they did.
Like, if you don't think that her New 52 costume is practical, read this, like, any of the Harley Quinn comics. That she changes, like, 3 different times.
She does. It's so much fun.
She'll have, like, the sweater winter wear. She'll have, like, the, beach wear. Everything is in there at some point with the red and black diamonds in that same theme. Not difficult to make, cosplayers out there. Just for ideas, get this comic.
I want her dress that she wore.
Yeah, that was a nice dress too. It was like an Asian-inspired, fancy. Oh, it was awesome.
So wonderful. And our last book of the week is Secret Six #2. This is written by Gail Simone with art by Ken Lashley and colorist is Jason Wright.
I like this more than #1. Like now,
I liked it a lot more than #1.
Yeah.
You open up with some great background for Catman, and it just continues from there, jumping between present and past, and these guys working together. And Ventriloquist wasn't too creepy.
No, she's kind of grounded herself down a bit. I like Catman a little more now. I still love Big Shot. Big Shot is the one I feel like I related to the most because he's kind of there like, okay, so let's figure out how to get out of this. And he sympathizes with some of these characters. Like one of the girls that passes out at one point, he's like, I know I'm not the prettiest thing to wake up to, but just know that you're safe and I've got you. And I'm like, this guy is awesome. Like, he's sweet.
You mean Etrogena?
Well, that's the other character that I also really liked.
That was the one that woke up. Was that Etrogena?
Yes. Yeah, but Big Shot's the one holding her. And he's actually a brand new character. So is she.
That's awesome.
Of course, the Ventriloquist is a new 52 character. And she is building these characters to be awesome. I can't wait for more of Big Shot. I want to see more of Catman, the Ventriloquist, especially now.
Strix.
And Strix, that's the whole reason we were on this. I mean, aside from Gail Simone, Strix was the one that we were attached to. And now there's these great characters. Her name is Hez Kinvade. That's the new female Etrigan. Hez Kinvade, yeah.
Etrogena. That's what we're going to call her. Etrogena.
Another new character, though. Like, I looked her up on Comic Vine. I'm like, I wonder if she appeared in anything. No, this is her first appearance in that form.
Good job, Etrogena.
Really liked her, and it's such a good, fun comic. I'm already liking these characters more than the movement characters, and I like the movement.
I like these more than the movement characters, too.
Awesome team. I'm glad they're coming back after Convergence, and I hope Gail Simone does this book for way longer than the movement.
Forever.
She's even said that she admits that there were missteps that she had during the movement in which, she could have done, some tighter plotting or some better characters here or there, handled the story in a different way. And I feel like she's taken that with everything she learned from that into the Secret Six comic. And it's very evident by this book. If it weren't for Harley Quinn, that would have been my pick of the week.
Mine as well, actually. Just for what she did with Catman, I thought that was brilliant.
So that is actually everything, all our comics for this week. I know we rushed by them a little bit because there was a ton of news we had to cover. But, we did it, the Marvel, Sony news. And if you want, you can go ahead and ask us more questions about any of the topics we covered or any news that comes up in the future while this podcast has already gone up. Let us know. We'll cover it. We'll answer your questions. We're more than happy to. You can never submit too many. At Reasons I'm Broke on Twitter or Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke. To summarize, our pick of the week was
Harley Quinn Valentine's Day Special #1.
No pass of the week on my end. They were all very solid titles.
Absolutely.
We want to once again thank Omni Expo with the panel, MegaCon of course, for partnering up with The Reasons I'm Broke and all of us at Nerd Up Media, as well as Florida Geek Scene. If you're listening to the show on Florida Geek Scene, thank you very much. Thank you to the site as well for hosting our podcast.
And if you listen to our show and you absolutely love it and you say, I want to help these guys out, you can head over to nerdupmedia.com/shop. And you can get your very own Nerd It Media shirt for just a donation of $16.99. You can choose your color and your size, men's or women's, and it really does help us out.
Another thing you can do to help us out is to sign up on audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia, completely free, your 30-day free trial. Also by leaving us reviews on iTunes or on Stitcher. All of that is great. All of that helps other Brokettes, future Brokettes, find us.
So once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Happy Valentine's Day to all of our Brokettes out there. I'm Kelly.
I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.